Hei, Tobias.
Hallo.
Nå har jeg en oppgave til deg, skjønner du.
Så.
Hva er neste innslag i dagens Midt i Smørøyet?
Da må jeg låne, tenker jeg, ta 10 Petter snart.
Ja. Jeg kan gi deg et tips til en som kommer.
Oi. Det der er jo Donald.
Ja.
Kommer han hit?
Tobias, Donald kommer ikke. Han finnes ikke.
Ja, åja. Er det noe han super, hyper, mega gode Donald-tegneren kommer, eller?
Ja, nå kommer han helt fra Amerika, bare for å besøke oss i Midt i Smørøyet. Don Rosa. Si hei til den.
Welcome to our show.
I'm very glad to be here, thank you.
Please sit down.
Sure.
Don Rosa, you're well known in Norway, but did you know that Donald Duck is the most famous cartoon in the whole country?
Well, I'm starting to realize that now that I've been over here to visit. Coming from America, that's kind of surprising because these comic book characters just haven't been as popular over there as they are here and haven't been for 20 or 30 years now. But I'm just delighted to be in a country where these characters are still as popular as they were as when I was a little kid.
For how long have you been interested in Donald?
Well, I was born in 1951, so that'd be 40 years, because I had a sister who was 11 years older than I was, and she had the house filled with these old Donald Duck comics from the moment they brought me home from the hospital as a baby. So these characters are as alive to me as my parents were.
Can you tell us a bit about your work with the one story?
The first thing I do is I'll do the script in a form like this, which has the dialogue and the quick sketches as to show the editors where the figures are going to be and what sort of expressions they're going to have on their face. And then I can do the finished pencils with the balloons laid out up here, trying to make sure there's enough room for the dialogue, which is going to be in 15, 20 different languages. I don't know how many different languages they translate it into. Of course, I have to do it all in pencil first. And this takes a lot of time. I might have to redraw these characters 2 or 3 times each to get them just the way I want them. And of course, but when it comes time to ink with a pen, then, well, these would be some copies of course, I don't have an inked copy of this one page, because then that page would be gone in pencil, but here's an example of what they might look like once they're inked with a pen or a brush. And of course, the different publishers put the words in.
Yes. Do you color the strips too?
No, that's something that's done at the printing company or the publishing company. I make suggestions on how things are colored, and sometimes it's kind of surprising how the colors turn out. You had an issue here. This issue here, I'm not sure what country this was. This is actually, one of my stories in here is actually colored very nice all the way through, but when I first opened it up and looked at we call this the splash panel of the first page, I noticed these trees back here, these green trees, which I thought when I drew them they were clouds, but they colored them green, so I think these are trees that are about 6 miles tall.
Could you show us how you can make Donald Duck change expressions?
Well, sure. That's one thing I like about the Donald Duck character is how his face is designed to get so many different expressions with just moving a couple of lines. His beak, if I draw it shut, nice and firm. And his eyes, I do the ovals up here for his eyes, so I can get kind of a determined or sly expression, just with very few movements. Yes. But what's great about the way his beak is constructed and his eyes, just move a couple of lines, and let's see. Yeah, his eyes are wide open, and like the entire bottom of his head, like opens on a hinge, and have his tongue hanging out. So it goes from that quickly from being surprised or from being indifferent or bored. He can be surprised. That's what makes Donald so much a lot more interesting, I think, to draw than Mickey Mouse or somebody like that.
Do you make mistakes?
Do I make mistakes? Well, you see this? This is all one eraser. I need more eraser than the average person would ever need. Before I make plenty of mistakes here, because when I finish a page, I don't see what I've actually drawn. I see what I was trying to draw. So what I do right before I ink this page is I'll go into the bathroom with it.
Bathroom?
And I'll hold it up to the mirror, and I'll look at it in the mirror. Now, when I look in the mirror and see this page, I see what I've actually drawn. like it's as if somebody else drew it, and I'll hold it up to the mirror in the bathroom, and I'll make notes on the back, like the beak on the duck in panel 2 is much too big, and something, or the duck in panel 3 is cross-eyed or something, and then I'll go back to the drawing board and I can correct it.
Do you think it's childish for a grown-up to draw cartoons?
Well, I don't know. I really don't think about it too often. I guess what I'm trying to do when I do one of these stories is I don't really think about what age group is going to be reading it. I just try to do a story that I think I'd be interested in reading. You know, something that I think I would find entertaining. So I think the important thing with these characters, these duck characters, the way they've been done for so many years, is that the stories are so rich in detail, historical backgrounds, and they're very authentic. And if there's younger kids that are reading them, and if they're too young to understand all the historical facts or so on, they still appreciate the fact they're there. They appreciate the richness of the atmosphere, and it makes it even more entertaining for them, even though they don't understand every detail that's in the story. I also put little hidden details that only certain readers might spot, like in this story. In the first splash panel, again, that's the first panel of each story, I often, unless somebody spots it and removes it, I'll put a dedication somewhere in the first panel. This is very difficult to see, but it should see a D-U-C-K, duck, which means dedicated to Uncle Carl, which is Carl Barks, the guy who originated most of these characters, from Keno, K-E-N-O, that's my first name. Don's my middle name, so it's my little dedication to show that I'm owing, you know, most everything that I do with these characters is based solidly on the stories that I read when I was growing up.